7, Pinpoint meteorologist Nick Allard.
It is windy, 57 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Ursula Royteen.
Listen live at mynorthwest.com. KIRO Radio 97.3 FM. News and talk, powered by the Pacific Northwest.
The Fastest 15, it's brought to you by IRG Physical and Hand Therapy. They allow us to bring this to you commercial-free. And this is our number.
It's time for the fastest 15 minutes in the news. This is Dori's Fastest 15.
That is a world of news in a tiny little 15-minute package just for you. And if you want to watch it, you just go to Facebook Live right now because we're live streaming the Fastest 15 on Facebook Live, too. So, as you know, I've started writing down notes during Ursula's newscast. So let me make sure I understand this. So the city of Seattle and King County will no longer allow plastic bags in our recycling.
Correct.
Okay.
Starting next year.
When they first got rid of paper bags and introduced plastic bags, they said plastic bags are better for the environment. We don't have to cut down trees. They're recyclable. And so what a lot of us would do was we would line our garbage pail with the plastic bag we got at our grocery store, and we'd have one for recyclable. And so then we would carry it out to our recycle bin and put it in there. We've been doing that for decades now. So now all of a sudden, we can no longer... So what are they going to do? Because you know what this makes me want to do? It makes me want to slip plastic bags in the middle of my recycle bin.
But according to them, you're damaging their equipment. It's becoming too cumbersome and expensive.
How? I mean, we've been for 20 years. We've been putting plastic bags. So is their equipment now inferior in 2019 to what it was in 1999?
Well, in case you haven't heard, there is a big push to get rid of plastic bags.
Right.
And more and more cities are banning them.
So then, including the dopey city where I live, which is... And then I go to the grocery store, and I always forget to bring a bag in. And then I always see a couple things I wasn't expecting to get.
Of course.
And then they always say, do you want a bag? It's 3 cents for a paper bag.
That's cheap.
I'm not
Mine's
giving the
5
government
cents.
3 cents. What do you think? I'm made of money? And so I end up... I look like a shoplifter.
Do you walk out seriously with just carrying everything?
I seriously walk out.
You can have like a 12-pack of toilet paper, and you're walking out with cans
if I
and
have
that
12
and everything.
packs, I put everything in the cart, but then I have to take it out one by one and put it into my car. But if it's only like 5 or 6 things, I look like one of those Waijamaya shoplifters where I'm carrying it, and then I keep the receipt in one hand because I have this armload of stuff, because I am not going to give them 3 cents for this stupid new bag rule. And so...
Glad you're telling me that you won't drive to another city where they don't have the ban yet just to avoid.
Oh, I've done that. But then, the end of your news story, so what is their advice to us to do with our plastic bags
There are
now?
some retailers that will still accept them because there is a market for them.
So they want us to drive to a retailer that will take our plastic bag, and that's going to help the environment. That I'm going
Well, again, the reasoning we're being given is that the plastic ruins their equipment.
But again, how and why now? We've been doing it for decades.
You pose a great question.
Do I have to get this guy on the show?
You should. He might be amenable.
Okay. Because seriously, I have so little history of civil disobedience, but slipping some plastic bags into my recycling and...
When you do recycling and when you're looking through the bins, do you still have struggle as to what goes where?
No, I asked my wife.
Okay.
I'm
talking like if you're at a mall. Where,
yeah, no.
Because it's not automatic. I have to really think about it.
Recyclable, compostable bottles, cans. No, even at home. I don't know, and I'm not the dumbest guy in the world.
No.
I'm certainly not the smartest.
You're very smart.
But We have garbage, and we have
It's like too many choices.
recycle, and we have food waste, and we have yard waste. But you can put some stuff in the yard
I know.
waste.
My husband has to always correct me, like, you could have put that in the yard waste.
You know what? You and I are very lucky that our spouses aren't married
Correct.
to each other, and you and I are married to each other,
We would
because
be an
we would just have
environmental
piles
wreck.
of garbage
Yeah.
sitting in our house and yard, because neither of us knows what to do. Our spouses do. It's ridiculous. So now they say they want us to drive to a store to drop off a plastic bag.
Assuming there might be a store close to you.
That sounds really environmentally friendly.
Kohl's recycles plastic bags.
Oh,
There
okay.
you
Where's
go.
the Kohl's? Oh, Linwood. Okay, yeah. I'll drive 25 minutes, walk in. Will you take this plastic bag for me? Then I'll drive 25 minutes home, and I'll feel so good about myself. Gee, we're in a nut house here. We're in an absolute nut house around here. Okay, but that is mere prelude.
I was sure you were going to jump on the other story that I had in my newscast.
I missed it. What was it? What's the other one? I'll jump on it.
The protest outside of the outside of Amazon.
I missed it.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
So council members are upset that the company has donated more than $1 million to the political arm of the Chamber of Commerce. Metro
Because
Chamber.
Amazon's had it. Amazon knows that Seattle's dying. Amazon knows that if we don't have an absolute wholesale change, every single incumbent should be voted out. What's the mayor's name? Jenny Durkin. Jenny Durkin. She should resign tomorrow. She's completely ineffectual. And I'm going to talk to a business owner. See, I have comments for everything. I don't even know about this story. I'm going to talk to a business owner in the Big Lead at 2. He sent us pictures every single day. He's got a little, it's called Seattle, what's it called? Seattle Beer Company?
Yes.
Nice little place. The dream. He's an entrepreneur. He creates jobs. He's got about 10 employees. He's kind of in the hill climb between Pike Place Market and the waterfront. Every single day, he has to step over bodies in his doorway, and he sent us 4 different pictures of heroin addicts passed out on piles of garbage. And so he's going to tell us what it's like to have to clean up, to have to call the police almost every day and rarely get a response, hope that he and his employees don't get pricked with a needle with HIV, that when they finally open the door that they're not going to bull rush them and try to steal stuff. And there's a guy who's just had a dream of being an entrepreneur and wanted to expand in Seattle and now doesn't even know if he wants to stay in Seattle. And why does this happen? Because of what Amazon is recognizing, that we've got to get rid of the entire incumbency. 7 of the 9 are up for vote on the city council. And we have to get some business-friendly people. And the problem right now, because we're not doing the homeless and the heroin addicts any favors. I talked about this with that great journalist, Heather McDonald, yesterday. If any of our kids became hooked on smack, would any loving parent say, hey, here's what you're going to do. Go in the basement. If you have to go steal stuff from our neighbors, steal stuff, fence it for 10 cents on the dollar, keep buying the heroin, and go into the basement and shoot up until you kill yourself, which is our city policy for all of these poor, desperate people. And instead, we need a business-first policy because the businesses are suffering, and we have to approach this with some kind of common sense. So who's protesting outside of Amazon? Council members?
Yeah, Shama Sawant, several other council members, and some candidates.
Well, time out. Are they taking vacation days today?
I don't believe so. I don't know.
So on taxpayer time, they are down protesting about a political issue. That's illegal. We should have the Attorney General. Oh, no, wait. He's in the complete pocket of the radical left. Bob Ferguson would never do anything about this. But unless they're taking vacation days, you can't go and pick it on what is a political issue.
Mike O'Brien and Lorena Gonzalez were also out there.
Nicole, I want their pays docked for today. Every one of them.
On it.
Thank you.
Wait. How's Nicole going to handle that?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's amazing what she can do. I say, can we do this? And suddenly it gets done. But I want, seriously, we're paying them so they can go protest on a political issue. I'm getting as riled up about this as I am the plastic bags. We get to the fastest 50.
Yes.
Okay. I do want to find out. Could you send an email to that, who's that person at the head of the council, the media person? Something - Robinson something. Sloan.
Okay.
Yeah, will you just drop them an email
Yes.
and ask if they are taking vacation or personal
Sure.
leave time as they protest outside of Amazon?
Yes. I'm sending that email now.
I really would appreciate. See, that's what Nicole can do.
I know that our reporter, Hannah Scott, who was out there, she's also listening, so I bet she's going to...
Was Hannah down there?
Yeah, Hannah, yes.
Hannah, will you find out if they're on vacation time right now? Or if they're actually doing this on the taxpayer dime, which is illegal. So, I would love to know this. Why does it take me to keep everything on the straight and narrow? If we had an attorney general who did their job, if we had a mayor who was barely competent, we could actually get some of these things done without raising my blood pressure. You can see that USA Today is going to get rid of their print edition.
Well, that's a shame. What are you going to read at the airport?
You read those at the airport?
Yes.
There's this thing called a Kindle now.
I know.
But
I am someone who's still, because I like to support journalism and newspapers. I don't want newspapers to go out of business. So, we still get the Seattle Times hard copy.
Do you know what a single weekday issue of the Seattle Times costs now?
I should know.
It used to be a quarter. It used to be a quarter, right?
Yeah.
It's wafer thin now. There's nothing to it.
Yeah, it is.
So, how narcissistic I am. But last week, when the picture on the front page of the trailer where they had the vote Dori and Dori
that thing.
So I go to the grocery store, and they still have a little newsstand. I'll buy 2 copies for the archives.
And then you were shocked when they told you the price?
She goes, that'll be $3. $1.50.
Oh, that's right. It's $1.50.
$1.50 for a weekday Seattle Times that's a wafer thin.
Someone has to pay the people who write the stories.
Oh, my goodness gracious. So anyway, but I actually have very fond memories of USA Today. I don't have any current. I never see it anymore. But I remember when it first, do you remember what was their groundbreaking marketing bit of genius when they first rolled it out?
I don't.
First of all, they were going to be very colorful. And the newspaper boxes that they sold them out of, they designed them to look like television sets.
Oh.
And so that's how they were going to get this new, and I was at the University of Washington at the time, and I would pick up a USA Today, and I rode that dismal bus from Ballard to the UW, and I would sit and I would read the USA Today, and I really felt, because up until then, I didn't care about the world. I cared about sports and little else. Mm-hmm. And that was when I first started really getting interested in more stuff. And one thing that was really cool was every Friday in the Life section, they would preview what songs were going to be featured that night on the episode of Miami Vice. And it was
really?
And it was a cultural event, and it's very exciting. So I'm kind of sorry to see them go now. But they're going to stay online. But I can't look at any of their online stuff because if you have an ad blocker, they won't allow you in. So anyway, the print USA Today is going bye-bye. Hey, speaking of my spray-painted trailer, Lisa Herbold Is that trailer still in her house? Do we know if it's still in her driveway?
As far as I know, it's still in her driveway.
Did the couple clean it off with my money, or did they?
I'm not sure, but I don't think she was gonna. I think she was gonna leave it.
So Dori Gov is still in Lisa Herbold's driveway.
I have not been told otherwise, but I'll check on it.
She's the grandma with the nose ring. Cool. Edgy. So this hasn't been a great couple of weeks for Lisa Herbold. The latest is, and a listener had tipped me off on this, but I didn't follow up on it because I had so many other things going on, but Jason Rance did. Lisa Herbold has a $32,000 tax lien, and she will not respond to questions that Jason has sent her about it. The IRS document says, we've made a demand for payment on this liability. It remains unpaid. Therefore, there is a lien in favor of the United States on all property and rights to property belonging to this taxpayer. And that's Seattle City Council member Lisa Herbold. Now, when I say this hasn't been a good couple of weeks, when we were out there last week, her neighbor said she doesn't even live in West Seattle. She lives in North Bend, and indeed her husband has a house in North Bend. We have been looking into at which address does she register her cars. Seattle, where she'd have to pay the outrageous sound transit tax, or North Bend, where she can escape the tax? And is she actually a carpetbagger who rarely lives in her district that she represents? Or does she not have to deal with the consequences of the drugs and homelessness that she and her fellow council members have created? And the questions go on and on for Lisa Herbold, but she's up for re-election. And again, the voters would be fools to re-elect her, but that sort of thing has happened before in Seattle. And that is your Fastest 15.
This has been the Fastest 15 Minutes in the news. Fast. Dori's Fastest 15.
Give us 15 minutes, we'll give you the world. You know, I hate upsetting my friends.
I do know that.
So a couple of days ago, tribal leaders, they were calling for the removal of 3 dams on the Columbia River. And one of them said, we have to choose cheap electricity or salmon. And I said, well, given that choice, I would take cheap electricity. Well, I immediately get a text from Captain Tom, who took me up salmon fishing in Sitka with Brock. And I don't think he...
Those salmon are very important.
I don't think he was thrilled with my answer. But you know what I do with my friends? And my enemies who will let me? I'll hash it out on the air. So Captain Tom Nelson will join us next. This hour of the Dori Monson Show is brought to you